Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and for those of you who are returning, welcome back. So today I am doing something a little bit different. Last year I discovered bullet journaling, but I didn't have the supplies to be able to try it out. So this year I just thought I would give it a shot. What I've done so far, I really enjoy it. It's very artistic and it's also very relaxing. So join me for my January 2021 bullet journal setup and let's get started. So the journal that I bought is just from Stationery Island on Amazon. It's 120 GSM, it's an A5 size. And here I'm just putting in my name in the front page. I had to do a lot of fake hand lettering because I'm not very good at the hand lettering thing yet. So this is a painting that I did, just a little watercolor painting of a little bookshop called Roma's Books. Roma was my grandmother, and when I was a kid, she bought a space and started her own bookstore. She was an avid reader. She loved so much the little silly mysteries and historical mysteries. That was her favorite genre of book. And she dedicated 13 years of her life to this bookstore. I kind of grew up there a little bit. I would spend days there in the summertime, and it's kind of where I got my love of reading from. So for my setup theme, I wanted to do a book theme and kind of pay tribute to my grandmother at the same time and her love of books. And I really had a lot of fun with this watercolor. I'm still really new to watercolor, so I'm still learning a lot. Here I'm just kind of laying down the base colors and trying to get it, I don't know, situated as far as like the shades. It's not an exact replica of her store, but it's close enough for my heart. So my grandma's bookstore, she sold it after 13 years, and the other lady who ran it for probably another, I don't know, 15 or so years after that. So it's been a while, and it just shut down in January of last year. It's kind of sad. It's just another small business, kind of falling into the times, with ebooks and online services like Amazon. It's hard for small businesses to compete with that. And it's sad too because it's kind of an end to an era as far as small little bookstores goes. And that's kind of one of the nice things about living here is that small stores are still a thing here. Like you can still go find a little bookstore, and they have a smell to them, and it's super cozy, and I just love bookstores so much. I would love to own one. I'd love to open a little cozy bookstore and serve coffee and just spend my days there. And what gave me the idea for this theme is actually, I found a word on Pinterest called, the word is Velocore. And on the first page of my bullet journal, I actually put that quote in underneath this little painting. And it basically means the smell and the feeling that you get when you walk into a used bookstore. And I just really like that word. So here I'm just filling in the bigger areas of color. This is a pretty simple painting. There's not a whole lot to it. So I'm not really describing everything that I'm doing just because it is so simple. I think it's pretty straightforward. And I'm not going to talk through this whole video. I'll probably talk at certain parts and then let you guys listen to some relaxing music in between the parts where I'm talking. So enjoy some music while I finish up this little painting. So as you can see, I just finished up the little painting and glued it into my journal. This is the front page. I'm filling in the 2021 numbers. I kind of freehanded these numbers, and I think they're okay in how they turned out, but I definitely need to work on my hand lettering. And below the little painting is the word I was telling you about. The definition is the strange wistfulness of used bookshops. So, for those of you who have a love for used bookstores, you should be able to definitely identify with that word. So, here's my first main page. This is the index, and I think I'm probably going to end up running out of room because I've already filled in quite a bit of space in my index, and I only have a little bit of space left. So I'm not really sure how most people do it for their bullet journal. I'm gonna have to look it up and see if they just leave more space or if they write smaller. I don't know, but I think I'm gonna run out of room in my index. And here I'm also just keeping up the book theme, so I have a little row of books at the top and at the bottom of each page, and I wanted it to be kind of a little bit charming and whimsical. So the markers that I use are a set of highlighters, which I didn't show, and then I also use the Talons Eagle Line brush pens, which are really great and super juicy. I only have these 4 pastel colors, and I really want to look at getting a bigger set of them because they're really nice pens. And I'm sorry about the weird camera angles. I'm using a Canon EOS 250D, which is a Canon Rebel SL3. It's the same thing. And I have it on a little tripod on my desk, and it doesn't zoom out very much. I mean, it can, but I'm kind of restricted on where I can put it to show what I'm doing. And in the future, I'm looking at getting another camera to help with this for my camera angles, but for now I'm kind of just stuck with what I have. And also the lighting, I know, is kind of dark in a lot of places, and that's just because the window is behind me, and so it casts a shadow on what I'm doing, and I have to order some more lights, but my space is limited in where I can put lights, so I just have to figure a few technical things out, and then my video qualities will be better. So just bear with me, guys, and I hope you enjoy what I have so far. So I finished up the first little row of books with the highlighters, and I think it's really cute. I really like the way it looks. Originally, I wanted to kind of go with a darker, more neutral color theme for the books, but I don't have the markers for it, and I didn't want to use colored pencil. But I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. I think it's bright and cute and whimsical. So this is my key page, which I made it kind of just a continuation of the index. So again, I'm just doing the book theme on top and bottom, and then I made my key look like a little sign hanging in a window, and I think it's really cute. I kept the coloring of the sign simple, and I used the same highlighters on the little books, so I think this spread is really cute. I just used a fine liner for the black line work. It's a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen liner. It's a package that I got from Amazon. And then later you'll see I actually switched to the Pigma Micron fine liners, which I actually like a lot better. So you'll see that in the future. So I'm just finishing up the last few things on this page, outlining the books in black fine liner. And you guys, like, I have a really big problem with eraser dust all over my desk. And I don't know if it's the eraser that I'm using or if it just happens, but does anybody else have this problem? And if you do, how do you fix it? Because it's really annoying to have all this eraser dust all over my desk. Anyways, here we are moving on to my future log. This was my first time doing anything like this. Obviously, it's my first bullet journal, so I'm still trying to get a hang of these spreads and what their purposes are. But this future log, I ended up doing 3 to a page, so for a total of 4 pages of this future log. And I wanted to keep it pretty simple because I want to be able to use it. I didn't want a whole lot of design stuff in the way. And I used the book theme at the top again. I kept it pretty simple as far as the font goes. Again, just clean and easy to read. That way I can actually get some use out of it. So while I fill this out, you guys, all of those little numbers on the calendars are really a pain, but I didn't have a way to print off my own stickers or to buy any stickers in time. So just kind of had to put everything in by hand a couple of places in this journal actually, and it is a really big pain in the butt. So I think going forward when I do these, I might look into getting some stickers or eventually being able to print off my own to make things a little bit more expedient. So here I just finished up my future log and filled all of the important dates in. I actually really like the way this looks, and the paper is handling the marker really well. There's only a few spaces where the marker kind of bled through a tiny bit, but that's just because these markers are super juicy. And so like you can kind of see on the back where the N was for November, it's a tiny bit of bleeding, a little bit of ghosting, but it doesn't bother me too much. So after that, I moved on to the mini calendars in the Year at a Glance, and I don't know how useful the Year at a Glance is going to be in the future. I might not include it just because I have calendars in so many other places in my bullet journal that I don't really find myself looking back at this Year at a Glance all that much. And then I also kind of messed up a little bit in the last couple of months, and later on I went in and fixed that. So these Year at a Glance mini calendars are really tedious, and then having to remember which months end on which days. And also I switched my calendar style from a Sunday start to a Monday start, and that's taken some adjustment too. And then after that, I just moved on to a little quote about reading, kind of penned in my own hand lettering. You can see I'm kind of trying to get a feel for the pen strokes. This is the Tombow Fudenosuke pen, and I have a couple of them. I have one that's a harder tip, the other one is a softer tip, and I've been using them and trying to get a feel for hand lettering, the upstrokes, the downstrokes, and I will be doing a lot more practice on that. So, anyways, this quote just says, reading gives us some place to go when we have to stay where we are. And I feel like that's really appropriate for 2020 just because of so many people having to stay in, not being able to go out all that much, and not really being able to travel. So, I've always loved reading because it gives you a chance to escape. You can go other places when you read, and that's one of the things that I love about reading. It's just such a nice escape. So here is my 2020 reflections page. I bought this Instax mini printer by Fujifilm, and it uses small, like 2x3 Polaroid prints, and you can see here I'm just printing off a few photos for my 2020 reflections to look back on. And this spread is my weight loss tracker. So originally I had intended to do 52 squares to represent 52 weeks in the year. So I'm just outlining those squares in my Pigma Micron, and then later I go in and fill them in with a highlighter. And I really like how this spread turned out in the end, although I did mess up a tiny bit, and I put in like 54 squares, I think, somehow. I don't really know how that happened, but that's all right. So this next page is my measurements. It's just the second half of my weight loss tracker to give me another way to track my weight loss for this year. I just have it divided into basically 6 boxes on the top, 6 boxes on the bottom for each month. So I have 12 total. And then I have measurements for my hips, my waist, my arms, my bust, all the usual measurements. So then I'm going to go in each month and fill it out and see what the difference is month to month on my measurements. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. And then I have a quote. The quote just says, "Success doesn't come from what you do occasionally, but what you do consistently." So I like that, and I think that's a really good quote for something like this. So, my next spread is the mood tracker. I chose to do a year in pixels because at the end of the year, I really like the way it looks with all the colors and the squares filled in. So, that's why I chose to do the year in pixels. For my moods, I picked happy, sensitive, sad, angry, stressed, energized, depressed, and calm. I think that's pretty much the gamut of my emotions that I feel on kind of a daily basis. I'm a very emotional person, so it will be interesting for me to see how I track my moods throughout the year, and maybe even if there's like a pattern based on certain times of the year. But this one is pretty straightforward. A lot of lining and boxes and things like that. Not too much design here. I did, for the title, pick out a pixely font, which I thought was a lot of fun to draw. So yeah, let's see how it looks at the end of the year when I do my review. So for the next page, I'm keeping with the book theme again. I just made a sort of, not really goals, but things I'd like to do this year. I don't know if everything is going to be possible, especially as far as the travel goes. But I added things like traveling, seeing a little bit more of Romania. I want to learn hand lettering. I want to learn Romanian because I live here now. And just a few other things like learning how to watercolor, kind of some artistic stuff that I want to practice and improve on. So here is where I put all that in, and then in the bottom I left some books blank so that if there's anything I think of throughout the year that I want to learn, I can fill that in there. So that's the end of my 2021 setup. I really enjoyed this. It was definitely a learning experience for me, and I look forward to seeing how my setups in the future are improved, especially when I learn hand lettering and I get better at watercolor and design and things like that. But overall, it was a nice, enjoyable experience. It was very relaxing, and I had a lot of fun with it. So I also have a January setup and also a February setup. Those videos will be coming shortly. So if you would like to also watch me set up those two spreads, stay tuned. They're going to be a little bit different just because they're monthly instead of yearly. So keep an eye out. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. And I'll see you next time. Thank you guys so much for watching.